What if the biggest pressure Gucci Mane is facing right now isn't from the streets, but from the industry itself? Since Big Scarr's tragic passing, fans thought the story was over. But behind the scenes, things are only getting darker. Whispers are growing louder. Loyalty is being questioned. And now, insiders claim Gucci Mane is dealing with serious backlash from people he never expected to turn on him. What makes this even more suspicious is Pooh Shiesty's silence. No statements, no posts, no emotional tribute, no response to the growing controversy. In hip-hop, silence is never random, it's calculated. And fans are starting to ask one dangerous question: is Pooh Shiesty distancing himself or protecting himself? Sources say industry executives, label insiders, and even close affiliates are quietly stepping back from Gucci Mane. Some believe the fallout surrounding Big Scarr has exposed deeper cracks inside 1017 records, cracks that were hidden for years. Others say this could be the moment everything starts collapsing. Meanwhile, fans are choosing sides, old clips are resurfacing, and every move Gucci Mane makes is now being dissected under a microscope. Is this backlash temporary, or is this the beginning of the end for one of trap music's most powerful empires? And the biggest mystery of all remains unanswered: why hasn't Pooh Shiesty said a single word? Because when the silence breaks, it might change everything. When the silence breaks, it might change everything. And that silence starts with one name: Pooh Shiesty. In hip-hop, silence is rarely accidental. Especially when your name is tied to controversy, loyalty questions, and a label already under the microscope. Since the fallout surrounding Big Scarr, fans have noticed something strange. Pooh Shiesty has gone completely quiet. No cryptic messages, no subtle responses, no emotional posts, just silence. And in this industry, silence often means one thing: something serious is happening behind closed doors. As questions grow louder, attention has shifted directly to Gucci Mane and the inner workings of 1017 records. For years, Gucci was praised for putting on Memphis artists, giving street rappers a real platform, and building one of the strongest trap legacies in hip-hop. But now, insiders say that legacy is being tested like never before. Big Scarr's passing didn't just leave an emotional hole, it exposed cracks in the foundation. Behind the scenes, industry insiders claim that executives, promoters, and even longtime collaborators have started asking uncomfortable questions. Questions about artist support, about mental health, about responsibility, and most importantly, about leadership. Several people close to the situation believe Gucci Mane is facing quiet industry backlash, not in public statements, but in subtle ways that matter more. Meetings going cold, phone calls not getting returned, deals slowing down, invitations disappearing. In the music industry, this kind of pressure doesn't come with headlines, it comes with isolation. And that's where things get dangerous. Because Gucci Mane isn't just another rapper. He's a gatekeeper, a brand, a boss. When the industry starts pulling back from someone like that, it signals a deeper shift. Some insiders believe this isn't about one situation, it's about a pattern that people are no longer willing to ignore. Meanwhile, fans have started connecting dots on their own. Old interviews are resurfacing. Past lyrics are being re-examined. Clips from studio sessions, label moments, and behind-the-scenes footage are now being viewed through a different lens. What once looked like tough love now feels questionable to some. What once felt like street motivation is now being labeled as pressure. And at the center of it all is 1017 Records, a label that once symbolized opportunity, but is now being scrutinized for its internal culture. Some fans believe Gucci Mane did everything he could. Others believe he could have done more. That divide is growing, wider by the day. But here's where the story takes an even darker turn. Sources close to the situation claim that Pooh Shiesty's silence isn't emotional, it's strategic. With legal issues already behind him and a career that still has potential, Pooh Shiesty is in a position where every word matters. One wrong statement could damage relationships, affect future deals, or pull him deeper into controversy he may be trying to escape. That silence could be distance. That silence could be protection. Or that silence could be a sign of internal conflict, loyalty versus survival. And that's the real tension nobody wants to talk about. In hip-hop, loyalty is currency. But survival is everything. As the pressure builds, some insiders say that 1017 Records is experiencing internal strain. Not open war, not yet, but quiet tension. Conversations being had in private. Decisions being delayed. Artists watching closely, unsure of where they stand. Because when a label's leadership is questioned, every artist under that umbrella feels it. Gucci Mane has always been known for resilience. He survived prison, industry betrayal, and personal demons. But this situation is different. This isn't a diss track. This isn't street beef. This is reputation pressure, and that's the kind of pressure money can't always fix. Fans are also noticing how carefully Gucci Mane is moving now. His public appearances are calculated. His statements are vague. His energy feels guarded. Some see it as maturity. Others see it as someone trying not to make the wrong move while the spotlight burns hotter than ever. And then there's the question nobody can ignore anymore. If everything is fine, why hasn't Pooh Shiesty spoken? Why hasn't he defended the label? Why hasn't he addressed the rumors? Why hasn't he reassured fans? Because when someone who usually speaks through music, street energy, and presence suddenly goes quiet, it suggests that the stakes are higher than fans realize. Some believe this silence signals a coming separation. Others believe it's temporary, waiting for the right moment. And a few believe something bigger is coming, a move that could change the future of 1017 Records entirely. At the same time, industry watchers are paying close attention. Not because they care about drama, but because moments like this often signal shifts in power. When empires start showing cracks, someone else is always ready to step in. And that's why this story isn't just about Gucci Mane or Pooh Shiesty. It's about what happens when loyalty, pressure, and public scrutiny collide, and whether one of trap music's most iconic labels can survive its most uncomfortable moment yet. Because if the silence breaks, it won't be quiet. Because if the silence breaks, it won't be quiet. And that silence has already started doing damage. As days passed with no response from Pooh Shiesty and only carefully measured moves from Gucci Mane, something unexpected happened. The fans took control of the narrative. Online, the conversation shifted from questions to accusations, from curiosity to judgment. Comment sections turned into courtrooms, and timelines became evidence boards. Fans weren't just reacting anymore, they were investigating. Clips from years ago began resurfacing. Old interviews where Big Scarr spoke about pressure, expectations, and proving himself were replayed with a new perspective. Lyrics that once sounded like hunger now felt heavy. Moments that once passed unnoticed suddenly felt uncomfortable. And slowly, the tone changed. For the first time, a growing number of fans weren't asking what happened, they were asking who failed him. That question landed directly at Gucci Mane's door. Across social media, supporters began splitting into two clear sides. One side defended Gucci Mane fiercely, reminding everyone of the opportunities he created, the artists he launched, and the culture he helped build. They argued that the streets are unpredictable, the industry is ruthless, and no label head can control everything. But the other side wasn't convinced. They argued that leadership comes with responsibility, that when you build an empire on young talent, you also inherit the weight of their struggles. And they questioned whether 1017 Records provided enough guidance, protection, and stability, especially during moments when Big Scarr needed it most. This wasn't hate. This was disappointment. And disappointment is far more dangerous than anger. As fan pressure intensified, the industry started paying closer attention. Not publicly, not yet, but quietly. Executives don't tweet. Promoters don't argue in comments. They observe. They analyze. They wait. And according to insiders, what they saw wasn't reassuring. Some believe Gucci Mane's usual confidence felt restrained. His responses were safe. His presence felt distant. In an industry built on perception, even a slight shift in energy sends a message, and that message was uncertainty. At the same time, whispers began spreading about internal unease at 1017 Records. Nothing explosive. Nothing confirmed. Just subtle signs, artists being cautious, affiliates staying quiet, and people close to the label choosing their words carefully. When nobody wants to speak freely, it usually means everyone knows something is wrong. And once again, Pooh Shiesty's silence stood out more than ever. Fans noticed that even when the narrative turned darker, he still didn't respond. No defense. No clarification. No subtle loyalty signal. Nothing. And that absence created its own story. Some fans believe Pooh Shiesty is mentally done with the situation, emotionally detached after everything he's been through. Others think his silence is legal, calculated, and necessary. But a growing number believe something else entirely, that Pooh Shiesty doesn't want to be tied to what's coming next. Because in hip-hop, when an artist goes quiet during controversy, it often means they're preparing for a move, not a message. Meanwhile, Gucci Mane found himself in an unfamiliar position, reacting instead of controlling the narrative. For a man who once dictated the pace of trap music, being forced into damage control was a clear sign that the situation had escalated beyond music. Industry insiders say that moments like this are when alliances are tested. Some stay loyal. Some create distance. Some quietly plan exits. And the most dangerous part? Nobody announces it. Everything happens in silence. Sponsors hesitate. Collaborations stall. Opportunities slow down. Not because someone is canceled, but because uncertainty scares money. And uncertainty was now surrounding the 1017 brand. What made things worse was the emotional weight attached to Big Scarr's name. This wasn't a simple business dispute. This was grief mixed with blame, loyalty mixed with loss. And once emotion enters the equation, logic usually follows behind. Fans began demanding transparency, something the industry rarely gives. They wanted answers about artist treatment, about mental health resources, about whether labels truly care once the contracts are signed. And even though Gucci Mane never positioned himself as a savior, fans had placed him on that pedestal years ago. Now, they were pulling him off it. Still, Gucci Mane didn't lash out. He didn't attack critics. He didn't escalate. And that restraint confused people even more. Was this growth? Or was it someone realizing that every word could make things worse? Some believe Gucci Mane knows something the public doesn't. Others believe he's waiting for the storm to pass. But storms fueled by grief and unanswered questions rarely pass quietly. And looming over everything is one uncomfortable truth. 1017 Records is bigger than any single artist, but it's also more fragile than it looks. When trust erodes, rebuilding it takes more than statements. It takes time, accountability, and clarity. And right now, clarity is nowhere to be found. As for Pooh Shiesty, his silence has turned into the loudest sound in the room. Fans aren't just waiting for him to speak, they're watching what he does next. Music moves, affiliations, distance, or loyalty. Because whatever he chooses will signal the future. And that's why this story feels unfinished. Because this isn't the explosion. This is the tension before it. The moment when everyone knows something is coming, but nobody knows who it will hit first. Because this isn't the explosion, it's the moment right before it. The moment when everyone involved realizes the situation can't stay quiet forever. In hip-hop history, there's a pattern that repeats itself over and over again. When pressure builds long enough, something gives. Sometimes it's a statement. Sometimes it's a song. Sometimes it's a sudden move that changes everything overnight. And right now, all signs suggest that Gucci Mane and 1017 Records are approaching that exact breaking point. Behind the scenes, insiders say the industry isn't waiting for answers anymore, it's preparing for outcomes. Executives don't deal in emotions. They deal in risk. And the moment a brand becomes unpredictable, distance becomes protection. That's what makes this situation so serious. Gucci Mane isn't being attacked publicly, he's being evaluated privately. And in this business, private evaluations determine who gets support and who gets quietly left behind. For years, Gucci Mane built his empire on resilience and reinvention. Every setback became a comeback. Every loss became fuel. But this time, the challenge isn't external. It's internal. And internal pressure is the hardest to fight. Because you can't diss it. You can't out-rap it. You can't intimidate it. You have to face it. At the center of that pressure is one unavoidable reality: Big Scarr's legacy. His name now represents more than music. It represents unanswered questions, emotional weight, and a conversation the culture is no longer willing to ignore. Fans don't want rumors. They want responsibility. And even if no one is officially blamed, silence starts to feel like avoidance. This is where leadership truly gets tested. Some believe Gucci Mane will eventually address the situation directly, not defensively, but reflectively. A controlled response. A reframing of the narrative. An attempt to show growth rather than guilt. If that happens, it could stabilize the situation and slow the bleeding. But others believe it's already too late for that. Because once fans emotionally disconnect, winning them back becomes nearly impossible. At the same time, attention is slowly shifting toward Pooh Shiesty's next move. Silence can only last so long before it turns into a statement of its own. And in this case, that statement is being interpreted in every possible way. Loyalty, distance, fear, strategy, survival. Some insiders believe Pooh Shiesty is standing at a crossroads. One path leads back to 1017, reaffirming loyalty, standing with Gucci Mane, and helping repair the brand from the inside. That path comes with protection, legacy, and familiarity, but also risk. Because if the fallout grows worse, everyone attached goes down together. The other path leads forward, not loudly, not dramatically, but subtly. New associations, new direction, quiet independence. And in hip-hop, quiet moves often speak louder than public announcements. Whichever path Pooh Shiesty chooses will send shockwaves through the industry. Not because of what he says, but because of what his decision represents. Because when a key artist shifts energy, the industry follows. Meanwhile, 1017 Records itself stands in a fragile position. Labels don't collapse overnight. They erode slowly. Through trust issues. Through hesitation. Through talent choosing safer spaces. And insiders say the next few months will determine whether 1017 stabilizes or continues to fracture. Some believe Gucci Mane will restructure internally. New faces. New rules. A shift in culture. A reset designed to show the industry that lessons were learned. That growth happened. That leadership evolved. Others believe the label will simply shrink, becoming more selective, more guarded, less influential than it once was. Either way, the era of unquestioned dominance feels over. And that might be the hardest truth for fans to accept. Because Gucci Mane isn't just a rapper. He's a symbol. A survivor. A blueprint. Watching that blueprint get questioned feels uncomfortable. But hip-hop has reached a point where legacy alone is no longer enough. Accountability has entered the conversation. And once that door opens, it never fully closes. As for the fans, they aren't letting go. Every move is being tracked. Every silence is being analyzed. Every post, appearance, and absence is being dissected. This isn't cancel culture, it's culture evolving. Fans are demanding more than music. They're demanding responsibility. And that pressure isn't going away. The real question now isn't what happened, it's what happens next. Does Gucci Mane step forward and reshape the narrative? Does Pooh Shiesty break his silence or let action speak? Does 1017 Records adapt or slowly fade from its former power? Because history shows us something very clear. In hip-hop, moments like this don't end quietly. They end with change. And when the silence finally breaks, it won't just change one career. It will change the direction of everything connected to it. Before you leave this video, let's be real for a second. This story isn't finished, and your voice actually matters here. Hip-hop has always been about loyalty, survival, and truth, and right now, all three are being tested. So, I want to hear from you. Do you think Gucci Mane is being unfairly blamed for everything surrounding Big Scarr, or do you believe leadership comes with responsibility no matter what? There's no right or wrong answer, but the conversation needs to happen. Drop a comment and tell us where you stand. Is Pooh Shiesty's silence smart strategy, or a sign that something bigger is coming? Do you think 1017 Records can recover from this pressure, Or is this the beginning of a major shift in the industry? If you've been rocking with this channel, make sure you hit that like button. It tells the algorithm this conversation deserves to be seen. And if you're new here, subscribe and turn on notifications, because when this silence finally breaks, we'll be covering every move in real time. This channel isn't about rumors, it's about breaking down what's really happening behind the scenes. So stay locked in, stay informed, and stay ready. Because in hip-hop, the next move changes everything and you don't want to miss it.